Tonight is going to be, I think, one of the most fascinating subjects around. And let me just give you a little background. When I first got into being a prosecutor, I got into it at kind of like the MASH level, this MASH kind of rough and tumble kind of world in which I, saw some pretty rough stuff. And when it came to domestic stuff, domestic is just the best. It's what cops are most fearful of. And you might have known something, maybe you were involved in it, but you haven't lived until you've been in a situation. And I've seen many, many clients, many, many people, where this person that you are married to or engaged to or involved with all of a sudden turns out to be a psycho, either because of drugs or alcohol or just a lunatic. And the number of people who have themselves been through this, and I bet you there's people right there where you were in a relationship of somebody who's a lunatic. And here's the best part. Men don't want to say this, but the number of absolutely insane women, I know you're not supposed to say that, but it's the God's honest truth, and you know it's true, and we all know it's true. It's unbelievable. So I heard this story today, which is incredible, about Strangler Kepner, Kady Strangler. Remember Ed Strangler Lewis? Strangler Lewis was one of the greatest hookers in professional wrestling. As you know, professional wrestling in the old days, a hooker was the ultimate. It was the greatest. It was the greatest compliment, because you were. Lou Thez was a hooker, Ed Strangler Lewis, maybe others. So Strangler means something, maybe perhaps historically, when it comes to professional wrestling. So there is a story about this Kady Kepner. Now, the big three and others in the LA Fire Department, that's what this is about. The DEI, they're all lesbians. Well, the top brass, one after another. And obviously, now I want to also say something to you. This is my off the cuff view of this. Take somebody who is a woman, genetically or gender woman, and prone to insanity, throw in a male equivalent in terms of, dare I say, not girth, but power. And this story involves butcher knives. I mean, this is just unbelievable. You get the best of both worlds. Male violence, female insanity, put them together, and it is Kady bar the door. Kady bar the door is a great Gordon Sollywood intone. So my friends, get ready for this. Before we do, let me tell you a couple of things. First and foremost, somebody asked the other day, and I was remiss in this. I wanted to remind you that right now, before we go, Prepare with Lionel has still one of the best deals ever. I don't know if they're going to go there. They don't tell me. They don't say, okay, the deal's gone. What? The deal's gone. They've got one right now as an intro. It's a 4-week emergency food supply kit where you can save $50 off. Let me just tell you something, and you've heard me before, and you don't have for me to sell it. If you feel like it's a good idea to have emergency food and provisions and water purifications and the like, if you think it's a good idea, preparewithlionel.com is the best of the best of the best. Period. You can go to Costco. You go to places, let me get an MRE. That's nice. Very, very good. This is buckets that are waterproof, stackable, ready to go, multiple use, 25-year shelf life. Go to preparewithlionel.com, read for yourself, and see they are simply the best. Act now. You've been warned. Okay? Okay. Now, let's start with this story, which is terrific. And you can go ahead, and I did one today. If you're subscribed to Lionel Nation, which I hope you are, you will be able to see what it is that I have provided heretofore. But this is such an incredible story. I don't want to leave anything out because it's something where the facts of the case are so terrific. How I would love to do this to a jury because it's just perfect. It's just perfect. A senior official, and by the way, Daily Mail covers this almost exclusively. Hats off to them. But a senior official at the LA Fire Department made homicidal and suicidal threats, strangled and chased her girlfriend with a carving knife, according to court documents. Are we okay so far? Are we okay so far? Who is it? LAFD, Los Angeles Fire Department, Assistant Chief Kristina Kady Kepner, or as I call her, Strangler Kepner, apparently went berserk. Then wrote apparently I don't want to say the name, but a self-harm note after cutting herself, according to a 2021 domestic violence restraining order filed by the ex in a Los Angeles court. Now, it just gets better, okay? So apparently during an argument at their home, the LAFD official, I mean, she's right up there. She basically is like in charge of their own internal affairs. She's DEI too, by the way. So you know she's good. She's DEI. She's DEI, okay? DEI. It was almost DEAD had she had her way. Anyway, during an argument, a kerfuffle, a little affray at their home, the official allegedly lunged at her ex and began strangling her. It happens. It happens. While saying that she was going to effing kill her. This is according to November 17, 2021. There's a court filing, okay? This is good. I don't know about you, but I'm not the only one. Honey, we go into this all the time. Lunging, knives, threatening, self-harm notes. Do it all the time. Sometime if we're watching Designing Women late at night, and I'll say I want to change the channel. She says, I'm watching that. All of a sudden, she'll come at me with a rolling pin and a scalpini hammer. It happens. Anyway, a judge dismissed both claims in February, and the fire department said it investigated and cleared her, who is currently in charge of the department's Emergency Operations Center. Who better to know? But the violence allegations have now apparently resurfaced amid criticism of the fire department's top brass over this month's wildfire, not to mention the DEI crap and the seemingly incompetent group of people, including that beast with a bad haircut who said, well, if I've got to go in and pick up your husband, he's obviously in a bad place. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. And I don't understand. Please, I'm going to tell you something. Why do they look like this? I don't know men who look like this. I swear to God. Dick Butkus looks like Winona Judd compared to, I don't know why I picked her, but what is this? It seems like not only is this sapphic, but there's this brutal look too. This I'm going to, and okay, fine. Not always, but in this case there is. Now, the ex-girlfriend or lover or whatever it is claimed that Strangler Kepner put her in a headlock. How perfect. Knocked her to the floor. You ready? And forcibly kissed her. Smooth. Come here, you. Give me the knife. Mwah. Talk about mixed messages. You know what I mean? And that later that day, she allegedly started waving a large butcher knife around, holding it up to her own neck and chest, threatening to do herself in the heart or the neck. Then she wrote a note that begins with an S, kind of a self-harm, goodbye, cruel world type of thing. This is the woman she's in charge of. Okay, this. Look, you might have had an argument. I might have said, okay, I changed the channel during designing. Okay, I changed the channel. But this is crazy. And I don't know if there was alcohol involved, not that makes any difference, but these are the people that we've got running the show. Now, the alleged threats and attempted strangulation were caught on video, according to the court documents, and included screenshots from the alleged footage. And you should see the pictures in the Daily Mail. They got the knife, and they got this, and they got scab. It's wild. Now, LA Fire Department Assistant Chief Kristina Kepner was, of course, accused of, doing this thing. Now, okay, her attorney, Strangler's attorney, John Fowler, added that the claims were false, and then his client, an experienced and respected leader in the LAFD, had been exonerated in multiple forums, and including the fire department, and then that's great. And the Daily Mail agreed to keep the 48-year-old ex anonymous, as she's an alleged victim of domestic violence, which is good. Now, Strangler's job, which reportedly involved oversight of HR complaints and misconduct. Wait a minute. What? She's in charge of misconduct herself. She is. She is. Like this. And she got to investigate her own case. Pretty groovy, huh? And she earned, according to it, more than $500,000 in benefits and salary. Now, the fire department official, who's 49, said in her own court filings that her ex was lying about the violence, and had herself attacked and harassed a Strangler, which, of course, the ex denied. So, Daily Mail apparently interviewed the ex, who claimed that Kristen Crowley, who's the chief, she's the main lesbian, but I'm not being mean. They're very vocal about this. We're lesbian. We're the first lesbian, the first black lesbian. They have this. And Kady's a lesbian, and this one is a lesbian, and this one's a lesbian. They're very open about this. So far be it for me to bring up the fact. Okay. So the chief says she knew about it, knew about the alleged putative abuse, and continued with plans to promote her anyway. Because that's it. Okay. So then the ex accused Crowley and Mayor Karen Bass of a cover-up. Can you believe this? Huh? Where there's smoke, there's fire. The ex told Daily Mail, quote, I did message Kristen Crowley in 2022, and I let her know that I have it on video. That Kady threatened to me. She attacked me. Crowley went ahead with plans to promote her anyway. A memo by Crowley, which was dated January 5th, 2022, announced Assistant Chief Strangler Kepner as the next commander of one of 4 LAFD bureaus, a top role in the department. But after a local journalist, Daniel Gus, publicly revealed some of the claims on his blog in March of 2023, Strangler's planned promotion was allegedly rescinded. Damn. Pictures listed in the restraining order exhibition filed by the ex, which show scraped knees and a variety of other abrasions and the like. And the filing was submitted by the ex-girlfriend against her on November the 17th of 2021. So anyway, Gus, this journalist or blogger, sent the story to Mayor Bass's office and got receipts saying his emails were read. 2 weeks later, the guys in the department were telling me that she's no longer to be a deputy chief. This according to the ex-girlfriend. Now, quote, she said, I'm sure Karen Bass called Kristen Crowley like, what the F is this? Then 2 weeks later, Strangler gets demoted. Okay, fine. So according to the ex, Bass, the mayor, and Crowley, the chief, definitely covered something up. So the mayor and the fire chief did not respond, of course, to requests for comment. So Strangler's LinkedIn page says she has remained an assistant chief since 2019 with no mention of the 2022 promotion. She earned $483 in 2022 and $521,000 in 2023 in that role, including overtime and benefits, according to various data. Now, the ex-girlfriend, Strangler's ex, described the assault in detail and explained where she got the bruises from and explained how how this thing happened and why she looks like that, where she got the cuts and the whole bit. So let me see. So the ex said she filmed the attack. That should be interesting. So anyway, so as we say, I'm going through the rest. I don't want to bore you with this whole thing. But just when you think you've heard all this. Now, here's the bottom line. Can you imagine what would happen if, let's say, somebody in the Trump administration, let's say Stephen Miller, or you might say, well, that's a difference of White House, but let's say Stephen Miller got into a pissing match with somebody else and they were yelling. They would be yelling, "Me too." They would be yelling, "This is unfair, cover up." But when these people do it, just when you realize they're incompetent, this is nothing but this lesbian club where they just want to hire fellow lesbians. That's what they're in for. Doesn't matter if they're nuts, lunatic, if they're demented, if they're physically able, if they have the wherewithal. It just doesn't. It's incredible. So I hope those of you who have signed up for the newsletter, I did 2 today. That's one story. And the other one, which is even more interesting, is that this is another story. They're playing this. Apparently, Barack and Michelle are, and they're pretending all of a sudden that it's Jennifer Aniston. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail, okay, because I don't know firsthand. But if what people hear and have heard, which is nothing wrong with this, since the beginning of time, and our friend Tucker Carlson has made a lot about this, many people believe that Barack Obama is, maybe not what he seems. And that they threw this together to try to cover up something, kind of like some people are saying, I don't know, but this Hugh Jackman story. Hugh Jackman, all of a sudden, he's got a girlfriend. It's like, Hugh, okay. That's not look, it's a free country. But you know and I know, when you talk to people in the business, what are they doing? They really think, you got to understand something. And it could very well be, for all we know, Jennifer Aniston, and I'm going to leave it at there, okay? Sometimes the best thing to do, and I'm not saying this is the case, but is to have a double beard. Have a beard cover for the beard. Believe it or not, crazy to sounds, it's always been rumored by a lot of folks who know that Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy were that. And that's one of the reasons why he was this roaring alcoholic, because of his Catholic this and his fighting his own. I'm just saying. They always make it sound like they couldn't marry because he was a Catholic. And people will believe any story there is. But what's interesting to note is that these folks probably fool most people, and I'm not pointing anybody in particular, But they fool because America just doesn't know when it comes to this. Give an example. Years ago, when Ellen DeGeneres came out, remember that Ellen DeGeneres? Who didn't know this? A lot of people did. Everybody knew this. Rosie O'Donnell, everybody knew this, but not across the, not sometimes in the heartland or in the flyover states or whatever you want to call it. People don't know these things. And they tell you this stuff because, just like with their politics, they don't care what you think. They don't care if they're even insulting you with this stuff. They tell you whatever they want. So this is fascinating. The DEI stuff could not be better. Not only is it not are they incompetent, but they seem to be kind of crazy. And this seems to be basically an all lesbian fire department, or the top, for no other reason than they're lesbian. I mean, it is the most blatant and the most obvious. And then we got Strangler here. And of course, she's, I guess, presumed innocent. She was never convicted of anything. But what are you going to do? Now, interesting thing here. Now, follow me on this. And this is what's critical. The people in LA, and I could come up with some kind of crazy. It's as though God is saying, I'm going to teach you a lesson. And I'm going to make you pay for the years of believing in all of this nonsense and all of this climate change and all of this lefty stuff and the Barbara Streisands and the De Niros. I mean, he's on the left coast, but all this. And I'm going to show you. And what am I going to do? First, I'm going to burn everything down. Well, I'm not going to burn it, but I'm going to let it be burned down by people at the behest of globalists who are meeting in Davos. Did you see this? Some great stuff, by the way. Fink from BlackRock and others. I mean, just. Okay. Number two, all of you who decided to celebrate the rainbow of everything. Let me give you an example. Did you ever run into one of these people? Maybe you have. Did you ever see one of these people? I don't know what their thing is, but...
Black and indigenous people of color. Black and indigenous people of color. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Asian American Pacific Islander.
Right.
Asian American Pacific Islander. Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole.
Romani, the gypsies.
Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole. We all have a place in this world.
Yeah. Keep hitting yourself there.
We all
we go.
have a place
as it all burns down. Yes. See, this is what they're going to say. Like, and guess what, LA? The reason why your stuff burned down, and the reason why there was this incompetence was people like that were at the helm of the fire department. And not only that, the people who are responsible for things like C40 cities and Smart LA 28 and Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Vision 2045, and living sustainability, all of those people that could very well, it's looking like these were just torched. But and now we're having these, they're having the how do I say this? They're having the arsonists move in. And you're also having some big names in the big tech world coming in and wanting to buy everything up. Hotels. They are going to have it. They're going to turn into be the biggest MAGA folks, because the next time you see DEI, you think of this. Look at those people. Look at these gals. And all they were there, they were just, it was almost like an inside job. Do you understand that? That's the beauty of this, my friends. It's just incredible. And remember, it is our duty to make sure that we let these lunatics know that we mean business. Do you hear what I'm saying? Let these lunatics absolutely know that we mean business. Have you seen Polyev in Canada? He is so wonderful. Watch this, my friends.
Executive order, the U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Is that great?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man. I am a As people say cis man. There are people there who, they say they're
Me too.
gender neutral. Well, you are a man, yes. There are people there who say they're gender neutral. Yeah, they say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here, whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it,
he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm only aware of two, but if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that. But I'm aware of two, and as far as I'm concerned, we should have a government that just minds its own damn business and leaves people alone.
Do you see where this is coming from? This is because of Trump. I mean, Polyev too, but this is because of Trump. This is the new world we're in. Have you seen, dear friends, have you seen the ICE arrests and the like? Oh, this is wonderful. Have you seen this? This, I saw today, happens to be a scene from the immigration division of South Korea. Now, why people are trying to break into South Korea, I guess maybe it's from the North Korea, I don't know. But this is purportedly the way they handled somebody who was, violating their immigration laws. Watch this guy. Surprise! Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? It's called the Ring of Law and Order. Pilgrim said, I've been on TPD ride-alongs, most dangerous calls. Well, anytime you would be there, that would scare the hell out of them. Imagine you're in the middle of some kind of an affray and Pilgrim shows up with the cops. You're thinking, oh my God, who's this guy? It's Dan Haggerty. I don't know who he is. It looks like a cross between Greg Allman and Yvonne DiCarlo. I'm not sure. Thank you. Spandex says, purchased 4 LA County Fire Department t-shirts to support the real firefighters, just walking the walk. Come on, step up. That'll do it. Thank you, my friend. Eric Heffelfinger says, we to push for the removal of gender race off of job school applications. Number can be reported after hire. If there's no intent to hire, then there's no need to ask in the first place. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've often thought the same thing. You do know that in law, when the defense claims that a prosecutor is removing black jurors because of race, the defense lawyer moves or asks the judge to inquire, claiming there's a systematic exclusion of people based upon race. The judge doesn't already says, wait a minute. How do I say this? The judge doesn't say, well, we're going to just put black people in. No, the judge asks the prosecutor, why do you not have any black folks on the jury? The prosecutor can say, because there's nobody in the Venire. We don't have any black potential jurors. Oh, okay. Well, I saw you exclude somebody. Why did you do that? Well, that was a relative of the defendant, or he's a convicted felon, or whatever. The thing is, you have to explain. You have to explain. Why is this? Why is this? There are people, in the old days, there was a thing called voiceovers. And in radio, before AI, Mrs. Allen and I were talking about that, there's going to be no need for voiceovers. None. None. The voice business, you just have a voice, you're like this voice, and he reads it. But if somebody came in and said, hello, can I ask you, you're not going to get the job. You're not. And people could say, well, is it because of the person's race? Kind of, but that's not technically it. If anybody says that, it's what they're saying. So you would have the opportunity to explain what it is that you were thinking of. Pilgrim says it was 26 years ago. And by the way, people were still frightened by that. In fact, ride-alongs were discontinued right after this because of the fright that people were exhibiting. Now, did you see this? This apparently was a Haitian fellow who was most upset over the fact that he was being sent home. Listen and enjoy the feeling of his particular consternation.
Not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro.
Yo, Biden forever, bro. Remember, always bro. Bruh is bruh. Always bro. Thank Obama for everything he did for me, bro. You always have to say bro. Come on, bro. Let go of me, bro. Let me go, bro. Let me go. It's like buddy or man or whatever. Always bro. Bro is it.
Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Bro, look at this. I wonder where they're going. Hey, maybe Pilgrim Media is on a ride along. Well, no. Sorry. Don't know about that right now.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next
ICE Boston
targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil.
I like the way they say illegal alien, not undocumented immigrant.
Who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery.
A red notice for armed robbery. An Interpol red notice.
This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
How about that? He's being picked up. This is what we need more of this.
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking.
Assault and heroin trafficking. We're getting rid of him. Thanks, bro. Thanks, Biden. Thanks, bro.
Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member.
Guatemalan MS-13. I wonder what he did.
Facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies.
Sanctuary policies. And you know who was a big sanctuary city guy? Our own Eric Adams, who now has changed his mind because he's begging for a pardon.
And in a sign of shifting
this is the same house. There's a lot of folks there who were illegal.
Priorities with the new Trump administration. This man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested.
And he goes by the name Pilgrim Media.
After ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
Collateral. Come on, bro.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer.
Oh, look at this. This is Patricia Hyde, ERO Boston Acting Field Office Director. ERO, okay.
That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States.
There you go.
So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
That's right.
Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities.
Good for you.
Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but...
Now you see her? I don't know if she's a lesbian. I don't know if she's straight. I don't know if she's a woman. I don't know. But if she's good and that's good. That's it. That's it. Let me remind you, we have no problem with people and their particular modality of affection.
We're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
There's Malugin.
And guys,
keep in mind, this is going to be the future. He's very, very serious, got a lot of hair. He's there. And I hope to God that we don't go completely AI and AGI, but he is exceptional. He is one of the best. He does a fantastic job with his border coverage. Excellent.
Shortly after we finished filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested for raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Malugin, it was fascinating to watch all of that.
By the way, does this, I don't even know, what is her Dana Perino? Does she look at all real? Doesn't she look like AI herself? I mean, she cannot get any more work. I'm sorry. But I must say this, aesthetically, just as somebody who appreciates when, you know, the work and everything, but there comes a point where somebody's going to say, that's enough. You don't look real. You look plastic. You can't have that anymore. It's okay. You've done too much. Seriously. I know that sounds petty, but I mean it. Aesthetically speaking, enough.
I think I was just saying to Bill, this is terrible for Joe Biden and the legacy that he tried to leave behind.
No, it's not. Joe Biden doesn't care a thing about this. Come on, Perino, what's the matter with you? Joe doesn't care. Joe's walking around saying, you got the ice cream. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
A question from me. How soon will they actually be leaving the country? Does that take a long time?
And those eyebrows, is that permanently, is that like a look of just quizzical? Ooh. Good question for Bill Malugin.
It depends what country they're from. If they're from cooperable countries like
Cooperable, not cooperative. Cooperable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm cooperable. Can we cooperate with
El Salvador, Guatemala, countries like that? It can be quick. It can be within days or weeks. If it's countries that are harder to deport, countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much,
Venezuela,
it can go into a process of months. But the Trump administration is changing policies with something called expedited removal. The bottom line is people at home don't need to understand all the policies. The Trump administration is just going to work as fast as they can to get all the people you just saw on camera there out of the country as fast as possible. They're also going to use their State Department, now led by Marco Rubio, to put pressure on countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much when it comes to those deportations.
Bill, just two points of clarification here. It seems a lot of these crimes are associated with sex crimes. I'm just looking at the list a bit earlier today. I don't know if that generally is the case
Very
or
good
not.
there, Bill.
And second, if Boston's a sanctuary city, how are they allowed to do this?
Whoa.
Because we told there would be resistance.
Hey.
Boston doesn't have to cooperate with ICE, but there's nothing they can do to stop ICE from coming into their city and enforcing the law. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. And that's the point ICE makes to us is, look, they don't have to cooperate with our detainer requests. They don't have to tell our officers when they're releasing somebody from jail. But we're going to do our job. We have our intel guys out in the field. We have people with eyes all over the place, and we're going to snatch those guys. So they can make ICE's job more difficult, longer, and more dangerous.
Look at this guy. Look at his face. Look at this thing. What the hell is going on? And by the way, you know what else these rat bastards are doing? They're keeping ICE from going into schools. You can't come into a school. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Watch me.
But it's not going to stop ICE from doing the job, guys. The bottom line is ICE says it's safer for everybody involved if locals would just hand these guys over in jail once they're arrested. But they don't. They let them out onto the streets. They don't tell ICE about it. So ICE has to spend a lot of resources gathering intel, finding these guys, and then going out into the community to do arrests, which could be dangerous. You saw that combative Haitian man. And then you saw in the case of that one MS-13 member, his friend got snagged. They weren't even looking for him. They They were looking for the MS-13 guy. They picked him up because a sanctuary jurisdiction released the MS-13 guy. ICE found him and then found the guy he was in the apartment with. They found out he was an illegal alien as well. So now he's going to be deported too.
Wow.
Amazing. Bill Mallusion, thank you so much. More to come on that.
Are you really amazed? Is it amazing? This is my favorite. This is the guy right here. This is the paquete. This is the holy. This is a guy. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going back to Haiti. Oh, yeah?
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Really? One more time, excuse me. I don't think they heard you in the back row. Say this again.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Well, I'm sorry. You said you're waiting? You're not going to what?
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Oh,
one of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Bro.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden.
You feel me? I feel you. Yeah, I'm going to feel you all right. Here's a great one, too. Did you see Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, is teeing up for 28? Listen to him when they ask Ron about the use of the term undocumented migrant.
Channel 4 here in Jacksonville. I just have 4 questions. One, Florida is home to hundreds of thousands of...
Now, by the way, count the stars on the dude on the right. How many? Is that 5? I think he's got 5 stars. Is that a little bit much? Like, General of the Army? 5 stars?
Undocumented immigrants.
Listen.
Are working in areas...
Well, so the federal government has made clear that the statutory term, it's not they're illegal aliens. That's the statutory term. That's what it is. And I think it's to try to water down. I mean, like, undocumented, it's like if I get in my car and I forget my wallet, okay, I don't have my document on me, like my driver's license. But I mean, I still have a right to drive. I just made a mistake. This is intentional to come in illegally. And it's not just a question of missing a document. It's a question of, you violated the law that were very clear and knowingly and with the help of the cartels in many cases.
DeSantis, he's not exactly, he doesn't win me over. I mean, but he's still good. He's still very, very good. By the way, Pete Hegseth, you see that? Watch it, Pete.
Florida is home to hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants who are illegal aliens, if you want to call it, who are working in areas of agriculture, farming, construction, hospitality.
I like when don't you love this? This is what's her name said. Who was it? That's what Buddy the bishop said. Remember that? And they clean our fish, and they work in our poultry houses. What the hell is different? He's a Charles Manson, but he was working at a Cracker Barrel. Okay, well, you're right. Was he working at the Cracker Barrel? Yeah, Mater D. Really? Okay, let him go. As long as they clean our fish and pick our fruit, we're going to look the other way. What, are you kidding me?
I'm just wondering, once we start to see, the significant roundups of these people, is there a plan in place to help those industries, to prevent those industries from experiencing true hardship, financial hardship?
So here's
now the first question I'm going to ask you, numbnuts, is this: why in the hell did these companies hire somebody in the first place who could not document who they were? Don't look at I kind of don't blame if you're here and you want to go to work, but ask the people who are picking the strawberries in Plant City and others in Ruskin, and they're doing all this stuff. Ask them, did you know? You mean to tell me he's an illegal? Yeah. Pedro and his wife, yeah, they're illegals. Did you check to see whether? No, they gave me their word. Pinky swear. Come on.
That's what I'd say. They made the same arguments on 23 when we did our immigration Cayenne Road. We did e-verify. When any of those industries, when they hire new people, they've got to verify their immigration status. Otherwise, they can't work. And people said, you are not going to be able to.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know what else is right? This. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, Many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. Now, I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. All right, my friends. Now, let's look for a couple of things here. Some other news stories which I want you to be aware of, which is part and parcel of what we're doing tonight so that you can be aware and know what's going on. Let me get rid of this one. There we go. A couple of things. Yes. There seems to be some confusion over the release. Before I forget, we need to remind you of this little piece from January the 6th. For all of those folks out there who think this is the worst thing that ever happened, the insurrection. Did you ever see this? And tell me what you've noticed about this. Watch very carefully. Okay, look, somebody's doing something. Look what they're doing. They're tearing up the... Oh, watch. Here comes a man with a flag.
Do not go in there.
You can't go in there. Look at this. You don't think that's an agent provocateur by any chance? You don't think that maybe that might be somebody trying to say, hey, damn it, we want to go in, and these other people with the flag say, no, don't go in there. But that fellow with the flag, according to the jurisdiction, according to the law, according to the way this has been done, is going to be considered just as guilty as anybody else. Watch this.
A radio journalist from Michigan was shooting video that day at the Capitol. What he captured were two most charitably called suspicious actors, but they are dressed in such a way that led him to believe that they were government agents. And one of them, after the windows had been broken by a protester, it was encouraging people to pull the rest of the glass out and go inside. Bobby Powell, who was the journalist that had shot it, and he has his camera rolling, he told him that would be illegal and that wouldn't be a good idea. He warned people off not to go into that window, and then he turned his camera around and he caught this agent or suspicious actor pulling a large pane of glass out, this tempered glass. It kind of folds into itself. Crunch onto the ground. When he realized he was being filmed, he quickly dropped it. It seems apparent on the video that he did not want to be seen doing what he just did. So he pulled in a protester and started blaming him. He said, "What are you doing breaking that window?" The poor fellow that was being accused didn't know what was going on. And then he gave him a couple of really good shoves and cocked his arm like he was going to punch him. We don't know. His facial image is not on any of the Sedition Hunter sites or the FBI's most wanted site, but he clearly was committing criminal damage to property, and he has not been charged. So it raises a question of why.
Also, the individual trying to, again, opening the window up is even encouraging people to enter, I believe, as well?
Yes.
What's he saying?
Well, he said, "Why don't y'all open the rest of it up?"
Right.
Why don't you guys open up the rest? Because I think that part would be illegal. Well, I know my glasses.
We're going to get to the bottom of this one day, but tell all of your friends who believe this was America's worst moment. And to those individuals who who I hope all are out now, because remember the marshals and others at first said we'll be a little slow, we'll get to this eventually, and Trump said no, I want them out now, right now. Watch this.
Have lost everything. Their husbands, the fathers, the breadwinners have been taken from them and put in prison unlawfully for many years for the simplest of infractions.
You said this wasn't the first prison that your son was at. Can you talk to us about what they charged him with and why he was at another prison before coming here?
Sure. What they do is it's called diesel therapy, so you can't settle. So what they'll do is when they first picked my son up on January 16, 2021, they scooped him up and then they started taking him from prison to prison. Spent 202 days down in the bowels of the DC prison. The conditions there are so egregious. He was actually sifting water through a sock because there's so much rust in the bottom of that prison that you can't drink the water. And so, they would lay them on a cot. They had lights. This was like Vietnam, where they had lights on all the time. You had 2 blankets. They call them suicide blankets. And you just laid them on a basically a block, and you didn't even have a mattress. So and then what they do, as soon as you start to get communications with your attorneys and your family, they scoop you up and they take you to another prison.
Yep.
And then so you'll be there for 2 weeks. You're usually a week to 2 weeks. You're in solitary, where they're transitioning you into the new prison, and then you're there for maybe 3 to 5 months. They ship you out again. And there was a time that on 2 Christmases ago, we didn't know where he was for I want to say almost 3 weeks. How is that possible? How come you can't, call his family? Nobody knows where he's at. When you can't talk to your attorneys, you can't hardly even talk to your family, and you can't possibly, make a defense. And then when you do get your attorneys, you talk to your attorneys, and then they scoop you up and they move you to the prison. All your notes and stuff, they take. So they know exactly what your defense is. It's like playing cards with your opponent looking over your back and looking at your hand. It's impossible to win. What has happened under the Biden regime was so egregious, so anti-American, unconstitutional.
Absolutely.
They walked all over our Bill of Rights. Thank God President Trump came in here, because not just for our patriots and our families, but for all of America, because if they didn't like you, they would do anything to shut you up. They tried to shut down my businesses. They had the local the state agencies come after my companies. I got a bunch of companies like restaurants. And so they'll stop at nothing to shut you down. And I've lived through it. And so here we are today.
So you're standing out here. President Trump signed the pardon over 24 hours ago, or coming up on 24 hours ago. Your son is still not out. What reasons have they given you for that? And what do you think is actually going on?
What this is nothing more than this nasty, rotten mayor of this city.
Yep.
That controls these facilities.
Yep. Bowser.
They're not federal facilities. They're city-run facilities.
Yep.
So what she's doing, because she's all bent out of shape, because they're out, she is doing everything she possibly can to hold up the process and also harm him. My son was assaulted by a lieutenant and 5 other guards last night. He was assaulted, punched. He was sitting in the middle of the quad waiting to get processed and go out. Came in, they handcuffed him, they wrenched his wrists, put him behind him, they punched him. From what I understand, they threw him physically into his cell, and that's where he was for the rest of the night. And this is a young man who has been pardoned like everybody else. And so this is how they're treating them. So we already have a lawsuit filed, but this just adds to that.
And you tell me why. And by the way, do you see what's happening right now? This is the new world of information transmission. This is it. Not cable news, not CNN, not Bill Hemmer. Though Maluj is good. This is it. That fellow with a microphone right there. Very simple. Not a guy with the hair, not the Dana Perino in the face, just a regular person. It is so raw, so pure, so honest. And I respectfully submit to you, dear patriot, that we should have, in essence, a reconsideration, a reclassification of these folks as internment with reparations. Reparations. If you want to give Black Americans money for what happened hundreds of years ago, there was an attempt, I believe, to deal with Japanese Americans who were interned. Also, there was a movement to reconnect Germans or actually Europeans who had their art and obviously their valuables stolen by Germany. All of those things made sense. They need to be compensated now. The president, by executive order, has to declare as a matter of fact, de jure, that this was an unconstitutional imprisonment, internment, sequestration, a violation of the 8th Amendment, whatever you want to call it. And they must be compensated. Each one of them. Absolutely. Remember that. Now, this may bother you as well today, but this was a very, very important day where everybody, oh, by the way, Margot Martin, I was watching her on X. I think they call it X. Used to be called Twitter, but now it's called X. That Muskrat guy, Muskrat Love, he bought him. In any event, she does the best videos. She has the steadiest hand of any. I mean, she's doing it like hold it freeform. This is the president today, I believe.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed.
No. You don't want that.
Okay.
You do not want that. Nope.
Yes, sir.
That ain't going to happen. Now, I know that. This young lady today was also happy about this move.
But people are getting a little ahead of themselves. First, the news reported on it, but they didn't put the entire executive order. So now it's actually published so I can read it. This is what got everyone excited because it says, I have now determined that the continued redaction and withholding of information from records pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy is not consistent with the public interest, and the release of these records is long overdue. But then the next section says this. Within 15 days of the date of this order, the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General shall present a plan to the President for the full and complete release of records relating to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So it doesn't say within 15 days you need to release it. It says within 15 days they need to present a plan to the President to release it. So after they present a plan, what happens next? Does he still need to give the okay to release the records? And then within 45 days, they have to do the same thing, come up with a plan for Senator Robert F. Kennedy and the Dr. Martin Luther King records. So I was really excited when I saw that Trump signed the executive order, but this is exactly why I don't like to trust the media, and I like to just read things right from the source myself. So be excited. This is great momentum, but it's not over quite yet. As always, let me know your thoughts and make sure you're following me for more.
This is very nice. I appreciate this. Watch this before I comment.
Did you fight to keep the JFK files secret?
Because I was trying to keep Americans safe. And by the way, don't paint with too broad a brush. 99.6% of the JFK files are public today.
But it was 60 years ago.
John, not everything was 60 years ago. And I don't want to spend a lot of time walking through this, but suffice it to say, the definition of a document covered by this statute that you're referring to, it's a little bit wonky, but suffice it to say, if Congress holds a hearing tomorrow on the Kennedy assassination, the documents generated tomorrow will be part of those files. Those would be tomorrow, they'd be 60 seconds old, not 60 years old. And last thing I'll say is there are things that happened 60 years ago that are still important to keep in the vault. There are lots of things that happened that long ago that still are appropriate not to release. Think of names and addresses and families. And by the way, there's also no value in them. These don't hold the...
I don't trust this guy. He is a slithering, slimy snake. He is a warmonger. He is an absolute... I went to an event one time at a Republican club, and people were kissing his ass. And I'm saying, are you people out of your mind? You know who he is? That's Mike Pompeo. Yes. Do you know what Pompeo did? No, but he's famous. That's the Republican Party today. They live in a world of a fan club. This is a rat bastard. Keep him as far away as you can. But I'll tell you what's going on.
Dark secrets that everybody wants to just hold up as the bogeyman. I saw the UFO files too. We've got bigger problems. In America, lots of bigger problems.
No.
Just because something is kept secret, why not go to the darkest corners? But it's a lot of fun. I'm happy to go there with you if you'd like.
I'm no expert in this, but it just makes no sense to me the 60 years ago that there are things in there
Sure.
Like,
sure.
Hypothetically, just for example.
Imagine you had an operative operating somewhere in the world who was 20 years old at the time they were doing that work. 60 years ago puts them at 80 today. Average lifespan of an American male, something in that range. Yeah, you should keep their identity secret.
But this was the Kennedy assassination in America.
Right, exactly. Precisely right.
Why should you keep why should you keep their identity secret? We just had people in prison for no particular reason. Why must their name, if what they did was against the law, why must they be kept secret? See, he's not answering the question, but I'll tell you.
Remember what the scope of these files is, John. The scope of these files isn't reduced to just what was happening inside the United States government. The scope of these files is legion. Anything that was talked about in the course of, there were hearings in the 90s, there were hearings in the 2000s, they ran far afield around the world. Anything that was part of those files is included in this. And so I had a chance to see not all of those documents, but most of them. The news value of them is grossly overrated.
Yeah, nothing to see
here. The
here.
desire to keep them secret, the motivation, the rationale for keeping them secret is wholly justified. I think we released, I can't remember on our watch, 140,000, 180,000 pages of those documents
Of what?
while I was the CI director. Totally appropriate to do so. And as time goes on, we should do our best. The most important reason to do it is because everybody out there talking about these things will get to see that there's less there than meets the eye. I'll leave it at that.
No. First and foremost, is there anyone watching now who does not believe that there was, in the case of JFK, that this was a conspiracy? Meaning that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone person involved. Anybody believe that there was a conspiracy? Does anybody think he was the by himself? Is anybody who doesn't think it? No, of course not. So that's it. That's step number one. That's step number one. That's the question to ask Mike Pompeo. Would you tell me this? Based upon are you saying that you would agree with me that there was at least a conspiracy, meaning that Lee Harvey Oswald did not act by himself? And if he did act by himself, what names are going to be? Maybe somebody who helped him. And if he did act by himself, anybody helping him would be a conspiracy. You see that question? It's a very, very simple question. Did he act alone? Yeah. Well, then release it. Yeah, but I don't want to give other names. What names? You just said he acted alone. Oh, now it's a conspiracy? So what you're saying is that? Second, if I were to tell you exactly what happened, you would not be able to replicate it. You would not be able to put it into any kind of an understanding. How would I explain this to you? How could I do it? There was a government in a sense that does not exist now. Think about this. This was 18 years after World War II. 18 years. All of the people from OSS, all of the people from really OSS and then what became the CIA, but all of those spooks, the Donovans and this and the OSS and the MIT, all of those folks were still there, number one. This was a group where we had an enemy 18 years prior to this, where we instilled and enlisted the help of people who were themselves members of organized crime. from Carlos Marcello to Santo Trafficante to Roselli, all those people, Barbarossa going after, it was after, and by the way, that happened with Castro, and that was also, it was a world that there was no internet. There was a sense of they could do anything they wanted. Nothing that I have right now, nothing. I would bet anything right now. If you want to know who were the shooters themselves, who were the actual shooters, where did they come from? It was a joint effort between CIA, FBI, and you don't have to know something to let it happen on purpose. You don't have to actively be in charge of this. If you're involved in this, you're going to say, you're not going to get involved with this, are you? No, of course not. No, okay. You're not gonna spill the beans, no, but I'm not going to stop it either. J. Edgar Hoover had a wonderful way of kind of like, after the fact, I don't know if he was actively involved. I don't think Lyndon Johnson actively wanted to take him out. It was a perfect combination between intel and using organized crime collectively. They worked together so beautifully, hand in glove. It was a different time then. Those people, the mob today, when I watch these, I'm sorry. I try sometimes to listen to John Gotti Jr., Michael Franzese, Sicali, Borello. This is organized crime? This? Do you know what Carlos Marcello was? Santo Trafficante. Oh my God. And going back to Lucky Luciano, these weren't mobsters. These were people who we didn't really get. This is before The Godfather, post Kefauver, post McClellan, post Valachi. We didn't get it then. It was a different time then. You could absolutely let this go. It was the motivation behind it. And don't forget one thing. Bobby Kennedy probably had more to do with this to either cause or to accelerate his brother's ultimate dispatch by virtue of what he did. Absolutely. Remember, it was a different time then. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do you think J. Edgar Hoover, do you think Alan Dulles wrote something down? Do you think there's a call? Look at a guy named Lucien Sarti, one of my favorites. These were the Corsicans. These were they were the professional these assassins were like great to come in through. You want to get somebody who maybe you can off right away, or somebody, if caught, what are you going to do? I don't know who this guy is. He has no connection here. Who is he? They come in through Mexico, cross the border, and then go to Dallas. Who was in charge of Dallas? Carlos Marcello. This was he controlled all that. The Jack Ruby. If I got so what are you going to do? Okay, here's a file. Go look through it. What are you going to do? What are you going to find? The receipt? Sarti's what? His payout? The payroll? Go ahead and look. You're going to find people who like a lot of these folks will say, and the pain, and the landlady, and Tippett, and this. Okay, great. Release it. Go through it. Go through it. You're not going to find anything there. Go ahead. Go through the documents. Anything else? Any more there? Let them see whatever you want. Thank you, President Trump, for at least it's not going to be there. Do you think they wrote down the truth behind the Manson case? By the way, Manson didn't do that. That was a setup. But do you think people write stuff down? Do you think anybody, what? Oh, you might get somebody who says, I was standing on the grassy knoll and I heard the bullet from, okay, that's good. Who did it? I don't know. And I was in the theater at the time, and when Tippett came in, he put his the police officer put his thumb between the hammer, and they did this, and okay. And the fellow who shot Tippett, because Tippett was supposedly a racist and all this. Okay, good. What does that tell you? Nothing. Keep looking. I love these people. They have all of these. I know it's a conspiracy. There's a hole in the most important evidence in the windshield coming from the front was a bullet hole that they immediately took to the Ford factory and replaced. That's the evidence of a bullet coming from the front, which doesn't make any sense if Lee Harvey Oswald from the back was acting alone. We know this. Go look through the files. Knock yourself out. Here, give them 8 billion files. Go through it. You're going to find something interesting. You're going to say, here's somebody they'd ever talked to. Somebody who actually said they saw. Really? Yeah. Here's a person. His name is Eddie Splitnick, and he saw somebody actually pull out a gun, and it could be back because they think Sartee was badge man because he wore uniforms and uses frangible bullets. Great. Sartee was killed in Mexico City in 1972. What are you going to do? Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Go ahead. Do you think, let me ask you something. Do you think anybody, you think America has any interest in this? We have a fire. Do you know what's going on in the Los Angeles fires? No, that was just the other day. And you think somebody, honest to God, gives a damn about, 61 years ago? I mean, what? What? Go ahead, look through them. Now, RFK, that's a good one too. And Bobby knows this because they know the fellow who was there. Who is this rogue Chase? I forgot his name. The powder deposition of the one wound. He was across the room, Sirhan. And if that wasn't MK Ultra, there is no MK Ultra. Because the first thing Sirhan said was, I don't know any. I didn't have anything. Jordan? I'm from Jordan. What did Bobby Kennedy have to do with Jordan? It never made any sense. None. MLK, come on. Please. Anyway, go ahead. Release the files. Now, UFOs, different story. Who has the files? We don't have files. We don't have files of that. You think what? The Defense Department has it? No. Same stuff you're seeing right now. Want to see that TikTok video again? Okay. Want to see that again? The gimbal? Nah, it's okay. There is no definitive proof, but that is able to be adduced, and America doesn't care. We care. I care. A handful of us do. We didn't even care about 9/11. Do you understand this? Let's talk about that one. Let's talk about some of that. Spandex says 10,000 per day times 365 equals 14,600,000 invaders. We need 2 more terms of DJT. Interesting. Pilgrim says this is more conservative. That is indeed. Anyone with still room temperature who was involved, me think not, maybe. No one cares except me and you. That's a big part of it. Franco says Ford admitted later on that he changed the location of the back wound in the Warren report to be consistent with Magic Bullet. I don't know if he admitted that or if they showed that he did. I don't know. That theoretically was what Nixon used to get him to grant him the pardon. Look, we can talk about this all night long. You're never going to find out who did it. Never. Under any circumstances whatsoever. It's not going to happen. Let me say one more thing before we forget, my friend, before I bid adieu. I want you to go right now to my good friend and our friends at mypillow.com. I got a soft spot in my heart for Mike Lindell and the great work and the great products and the great modes of luxuriation. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, mypillow.com/Lionel. Go right now. And believe it or not, what they sell probably more of than anything else are the slippers and the slides and all that. They're incredible. Okay, dear friends, what a night. What a night, wasn't this? Gave you an hour and 14 minutes of my life because that's what we need to do. Because I want you to think. And I want you to think. And tomorrow when they talk about this, maybe you've got a friend who says, Go ahead and release him. What are you going to find? Where's the file? Like, aha! There's no aha moment. Hey, I found the file. It's the picture. No. But good for the president. Good for him. Good. President doesn't know anything. Do you think Trump knows? You think he has the highest top secret clearance? No. And if Trump says, who's got the highest top secret clearance? I don't know. They're not going to tell you. There's no need to know. There's nothing that says the president of the United States has a need to know anything. And there used to be these codes. They used to be called supposedly Umbra, Zebra, Ultra, the 5-letter ones. Those are like, He doesn't know this. Look at Elizondo. I was listening the other day. I've got a wonderful audio book. I listen to him. It's very good. At night, I listen to books, and I just listen. And I'm thinking, I don't know anything after listening to him or reading him. Nothing new. Spandex says, follow the money, military, central bankers, not to lose Vietnam. No, you can do this all day long. Go over here. Go to the Federal Reserve. Go to the faculty. He says, I'm going to destroy the Intel CIA into 1,000 pieces. And then there's Dulles. I go, go ahead. We know this. There's a million different motivations to kill. A million. Good luck. You're not going to find it. It's not there. That notwithstanding. All right, dear friends, don't forget, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. February the 22nd in New York City. February 22nd at the Cutting Room. I'm going to be there. Make sure the information is there. Let's make it the biggest party ever, because this one is going to be a relief. But remember, this is not stand-up. You are in the audience and you are asking questions. It's like nothing anybody has done. Dave Chappelle doesn't do this. Other people don't do it because they can't. Because they have it all worked out. We know the subject matter. It's a different story. And don't forget, my friends, sign up for the newsletter. It's right there. 2 went out today that are doozies. Hope you got them. And also make sure that you are absolutely subscribed to Lionel Nation. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. I think Franco, I said that. Thank you. And Spandex and Pilgrim Media, like the new hat. Eric Heffelfinger, thank you, all of you great and glorious folks. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. It's been cold today. Mrs. Allen and I turned the corner. We were walking back after doing a little jaunt in the hood. And we're walking down we're walking west. And there's the Hudson River. And I mean to tell you, I had on earmuffs and the whole bit. It cut through me because that temperature, that cold off the river, it's like, God. And from a Florida boy, that means something. All right, friends, have a great and a glorious day. See you tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, remember these words, a monkey's dead. The show's over, sue you. Da, da.